Hey there, welcome to Pivotal Point. I'm your host, Frank Hanrahan, brought to you by New Wave Soda. Check them out at wavesoda.com. And I'm really excited to bring on my next guest. I've seen this guy from when he was a very young child back in DC, back in the days, to now a booming superstar, a movie star. He is the star of The Punisher. He was in The Walking Dead for many years, and he's got several new projects coming out. It's my pleasure to bring in Jon Bernthal, joining me now from California. Bernthal, what is up, my friend? How are you? Let me get you on there.
Frankie?
Just making sure.
Good to see you, man.
It's really good to see you, man. I want to ask you off the top.
Sure.
How are you doing? Everybody all right there in California? And this is a crazy time. We're all getting through it together, but how are you doing, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, it's good to see you, Frankie, and it's good to see everything that's going on with you. You know, your listeners and your watchers should know, man. I remember when you were calling the wrestling matches in our basement, man. You know what I mean, with our crazy ass costumes, and Frankie was a legend of a ball player at our school. He's a little bit older. He's my brother's age, but I grew up, watching that 3-ball. Unlike anything I ever seen.
Thanks,
so I'm happy for you, man. I'm really happy for everything that's going on. I mean, look, man, the world right now is it's in a crazy place, and I know, like you, ahead of all else, I'm a dad and I'm a husband, and we're trying to. I think this affects everybody who at different age groups in very different ways. Folks are our parents' age, our age, and then obviously with the kids. Look, I live in a real small town, and it's been sort of a balance for my kids to really kind of feel the weight of this whole thing, but also to preserve sort of some sense of normalcy as this is going on. But I do feel like there are little silver linings everywhere. Look, I'm in my work, I spend usually 10 months out of the year on the road, and I've missed so much of being here with my kids. And this has been, a straight, 7-month period here every day, and it's been, for us, man, it's been a real, that part of it has been a real godsend.
Awesome. I want to ask you, before we get into some of the deep stuff, Small Engine Repair. I see you tweeted this yesterday, new flick coming out. Give me some more details on this, man.
Oh man, look, Small Engine Repair is sort of a passion project that I've been working on. We first started it as a play here in LA. We did it at this teeny little theater, 40 seats, in between season 1 and season 2 of The Walking Dead, and the play just kind of blew up. It's with my partner Jon Bernthal. He wrote the play, and he's gone on. He wrote that movie Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal. He's worked on all Scott Silver's movies, Joker, and tons more. And it's really a labor of love, man. We've sort of developed the script and changed it from a play into a movie. And I'm excited. It was another sort of casualty of COVID because it was supposed to premiere at South by Southwest, and I think that's been really hard for our industry as a whole. How do we get material out there? Normally you have these premieres, you have these festivals that for smaller independent films that don't have studio money behind it, you've got to have some sort of way of getting it out there. So we're really we're having a drive-through screening tomorrow night in some parking lot in Glendale, and we're gonna have all the big buyers come, and we're gonna hope for the best. But it's a really special movie. I think people will dig it a lot.
That's awesome. And listen, man, Ford versus Ferrari, you're fantastic, man. Like that, it's great to see your growth. I mean, I don't want to get too X's and O's into your acting, but like that was like, I was like, this dude is got it. Being Lee Iacocca, for gosh.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, look, man, it's not me running around slicing up zombies or killing people, man. It's something different. I mean, look, I think the idea is, I've never really been, it's never really been like career motivation or financial motivation. I've always, I really believe as an artist, what I love about what I do is it's like being a father, man. It's like you're never going to get it right. You're never going to get it perfectly. You're chasing it. It's always out in front of you. And I love that aspect. I love staying hungry. I love always trying to get better, trying to grow. And I think what's sort of paramount in that is you've got to, you got to push yourself. You got to go for the things that scare you. You got to go for the things that aren't in your wheelhouse. And I think so many actors kind of make the mistake of just, Hollywood for being a creative community. It oftentimes completely fucking lacks, creativity. They're like, oh, this guy, he's done this role, so that's all they want to see you in. And it becomes very much like low hanging fruit. If you get lucky enough to sort of have a career and be known to do a certain kind of thing, you can sort of keep doing that thing over and over again. And I'm doing this movie now with Will Smith about Serena and Venus Williams. He plays their dad. I play their coach, Rick Macy. And it's such a different thing for me. That's why I have this goofy ass mustache. Awesome. My wife won't make out with me, and my kids keep pulling on this sucker, dude.
How's your tennis game?
Whole quarantine with it.
How's your tennis game?
Man, look, one of the best things, I keep saying one of the best things about what I do, man, is you get to learn all these different skills, and I've had the honor of playing so many soldiers, and I've gotten to train with befriend so many just unbelievable soldiers, especially special forces guys, and I still train with them all the time, weapons or tanks or whatever it is. But you got to learn, you're an athlete, man. The worst thing for us, we both play baseball. I don't want to watch a baseball movie and see a guy who can't throw. It drives me crazy, right? So I think for me, man, it's like,
you got to look at it.
You got to do it, dude. So for tennis, I was never I'm probably one of the most underrated athletes to ever come out of the DC area. But besides that, man, I never played tennis, but, got, 4, full-time coaches at this tennis academy, a few hours a day, every day for months. And I've fallen in love with the game now. And, and I just think the mental, I've been a boxer for a long time. And I think the mental aspect of tennis is so similar to boxing. And I love the game. I love the game. And I play all the time now.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've sort of given up on hoops a little bit because tennis is like sort of overtaking me now. Like that is that's my out right now. That's the way I sort of escape. Like, hey, I got to go play some tennis, man.
Beautiful, great COVID game too, man.
Right? Oh yeah,
socially distance is perfect.
Everybody's playing tennis, dude. Everybody's playing tennis. But speaking of hoops, back in the days when we used to play pickup, and I remember when you were trying to, make it and trying to focus your career. You were hell-bent on becoming a successful actor. I just remember these conversations, you may not, but I do, where you were like, I'm going to make it. I remember you saying those words to me. I heard you on a podcast, Jon, saying that like in 6th grade, an acting or a teacher said, you'll never be a good actor. And that brought back to me where I remember in 6th grade, I had a teacher say, you're never going to be good at math. And it's amazing like what sticks with you throughout your life. And we fast forward now to where you're a very successful actor. How much of an impact does stuff like that stick with you and motivate you moving forward?
Man, look, I think it's a great question. I think that you can. It's funny, you really do remember as a child, and it's a great lesson as a parent and just as a grown ass man. How you deal with kids and the messaging that you give to them. My kids are athletes, and I'm constantly. With everything, I think kids are always sort of looking to kind of find out where they, how they sort of fit in, how they compare. They're constantly they're looking to adults, and it puts them in an unbelievably sort of sensitive position. And I think it's a fine line because you don't want to coddle your kids, and you don't want to. I don't think you want to tell them that they can do anything in the world. I think you want to stress hard work, and but to tell somebody that they suck at something, or to, those things like really stick with you. And I can kind of look back on every time something like that happened to me, and whether it was motivating or not, I'm not sure, but it definitely had a huge impact. And what I will say is I do remember, in high school, I was a bit of a troublemaker. I played sports. I got into some trouble, but I did have this kind of burning desire to act. It was something that my mom always said to me as a young boy. She said, you could do this. And I went and I did this play, and the acting teacher at our school, I guess, I was in the football locker room and somebody had just been in his class and he came in and he said he was totally making fun of me in the play and said that I sucked at acting. And, I tried to play it off cool in the locker room and, like it didn't really bother me. But what I do remember is I remember going home and telling my parents, and I remember my dad dropped me off at school the next day, and he used to, drop us off on the corner across from Wisconsin Avenue because he didn't want to like actually pull into the school, like save any amount of time. He'd be like, get out of here across the street. You know what I mean? It was cold as shit some morning. He didn't care. But I remember that morning he pulled into campus and I was like, what are you doing? And I saw him follow. He didn't say anything. But I guess he like went in and he grabbed that acting teacher and he like threw him up against the wall and was like, how dare you, say that to my son? He finally puts himself out there. And, I got to tell you, like, I remember that and that sticks with me, just as much as what he said. And I remember my mother had done the same thing at one of my little brother's baseball games. She saw the teacher and said, my son's doing a play in New York. Like, how do you like them apples? You know what I mean? And like, I have no need to go back and sort of say, hey, like, look at me, but I think it's the people. I think you have a choice in life to be defined by the things that sort of, put you down or made you feel shameful, and you can make that work for you, or you can choose to sort of remember the people that really got your back, stayed in your corner, believed in you, and you can let that motivate you. And you can honestly do, I think just as long as you're using them to motivate you and to make you better and to push you forward, not to hold you back or cripple you in some way.
So yeah, it was high school. My bad. I said sixth grade. It was
probably happened in sixth grade too, man.
Grade, yeah. So when did you decide, okay, like you said, you started liking it in high school. And then when was it really like that click for you when you said, you know what, I want to make this happen. I want to do this for a living?
I went to college and played baseball, and I was still very much a real behavior problem. I was man, I'd been arrested in like 6 different states. I was all too familiar with the inside of jail cells, and I was really wild, and I really think that like I let sort of the wildness define me. I was always kind of known as the crazy kid, the kid that would do anything, and I had a great group of friends, but I think sort of I found this role within that group that's sort of what I did, and I went to college again to play sports, and I took acting kind of as a requirement to get rid of. And I ended up in this class with this woman, Alma Becker, who, she ended up really, I think in a major way, kind of saving my life, man. I remember the first assignment that we had was to bring in something that we cared about and share it with the rest of the class. And the first girl had like a Blues Traveler CD that her boyfriend had given her, and she was like crying to the class, emoting about it. And I was like, these are the strangest fucking people in the world. Like, why are they like taking this so serious? And I had like completely I'd probably dropped acid the night before. I forgot that I even like had to bring something in, but it slowly but surely was working its way around the circle to me. And I picked up this catcher's glove because I was going to baseball practice right afterwards. And I told this story about how my mom had given me this catcher's glove on her deathbed. And, my mom's like alive and well. And I was just like, I thought that was like what acting was. And I was just bullshitting. But then I looked around the class and everybody was crying and I was crying too. And I was like, whoa, I'm just acting. And, that woman sort of like, she dismissed everybody and ripped me apart. But then I said, you have something and I want you to audition for this play. And I did this play with her. And I don't know, man, there was something that happened with her and how she took it so seriously. And the feeling that I got from being on stage was unlike anything I felt before. And I could sort of redefine kind of the role that I felt that I always had. And there was something where I could be taken seriously in a way. And that was really kind of like where the impetus came. I mean, I think that's where like the flame was ignited. And there was that same woman when I got into like some real major trouble later that pushed me to move to Russia and, study acting in Moscow for a few years.
So the name of the show is Pivotal Point, and I know we all have these moments in our lives where you look back and say, you know what, that decision led to X, Y, and Z. Is there a moment in your career, in your life, where you said, okay, if that decision doesn't happen, I'm not where I am at? Or there are several decisions that took place for you?
Yeah, man, I think it's a good question. I mean, I really think that it's several, and I think that I think life, life when you're growing up is very much it's like a hot and cold game. It's like you make decisions and you either get burned or you feel good. And it's like you're trying to like figure it out. And I was a guy who made a lot of bad decisions over and over and over again. It seemed to be kind of like the same bad decisions were always sort of taking me back over and over and over again. And I think there was probably, when you say pivotal point, I definitely look at like one instance in my life as being sort of like the most pivotal kind of moment. And then I think from that situation, there are so many things that come up in my life where I go back to that moment and I know because I made a decision in one way that I didn't get burned and I actually felt good and I actually grew and I actually was inspired, that I go back and I make that sort of same kind of like flavor of decision, if that makes sense. But I mean, for me, and I've told this story before, so forgive me, but like, in 2009, I think, I had really worked hard at trying to sort of like, follow this dream of mine. And I'd found some success as an actor. I'd been on a couple TV shows and I'd been in a few movies. But, I still was making a lot of the bad decisions that had kind of plagued me through my whole life. Drinking a ton, would never say no to a fist fight. I was not a good boyfriend. I was wild, man. And I really believed in my heart of hearts that part of me sort of like attaining my dreams or being a good actor meant that I needed to like be in close proximity to this wildness. I believe that I needed it, that sort of reckless abandonment with which I could live my life. And that danger seeking part of me is what made me special as an artist. And, in 2009, one night I was out and about and there's a bunch of guys hanging out in Venice Beach where I lived. And I had my dogs with me. And one of these guys, they were kind of hanging out at a big house party. One of these guys had called my dog over and my dog went over and I tried to get him back and the guy kind of held on to my dog and I got my dog away and sort of argument ensued. And these guys started following me and I just hit this guy, and I've been a boxer for a long time and he got knocked out standing up and hit his head down on the pavement. And I put my back against this tree and I just started fighting these guys. And it was really bad. And I got, the police came, I got taken to jail and it did not, it did not look like this guy was going to wake up. And I was handcuffed to this bench in the Pacific Division, the LAPD. And, man, I remember thinking, as clear as anything, if this man doesn't wake up, that's my life. Like that, this is where I'm going. And I was so, utterly disappointed in myself that it's like, this is the same fucking lesson, man. This is the same thing that like life has shown you over and over and over and over again. And I just remember as clear as anything, I remember I really had to go to the bathroom. And like the thing that anybody will know when you're, in police custody, that you don't get to go to the bathroom, right. And I'm like sitting there handcuffed and I just couldn't believe that at this point in my life, I couldn't even go to the bathroom. And I remember saying to myself, look, man, if this guy doesn't wake up and you go through that door, you're going to have to be the worst version of yourself. Like all the friendships, all the act, like all that's over. Like it's time to find the devil inside of yourself and you just got to be that guy. But I said to myself, if this can just go the other way this time, I know as sure as anything, like I am done. I'm done drinking. I'm done being crazy. I'm going to look for the love in life. I'm going to dedicate myself to my lady. I'm going to be about family and about work. And I'm trimming off all the fat of my life. And look, the guy did end up waking up and obviously like, I dealt with whatever that process was. But it ended up being sort of like you say, the pivotal moment in my life because everything really changed after that. And then literally every sort of conflict or tough decision that came my way, whether it was, do I take this movie, or do I walk, my friends walking into that bar, I don't want to go in that bar, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
decision became really clear. It's like, you go this way, and I do believe I really do genuinely believe that we know the answer to all those decisions, even from a young age. We've got these different voices, and we got to, whether you want to call it religion, whether you want to call it spirituality, whether you want to call it morality, whether you want it to call it, like, you hear your mom's voice in your heart, whatever it is, that's that sort of compass that guides you. I felt like I found it that day, and it really has sort of like dictated not only my life going forward, but it's allowed me to really achieve, unbelievable peace of mind and happiness and family. And, my family and my work is really everything to me. And, I was really able to kind of see all these forces in my life that it's not that they were dragging me down, but it's just, I had kind of outgrown, I had outgrown them, and I didn't need them, and I wasn't scared anymore. Cause I think so much of that kind of, bad, pathetic behavior comes from your own fear or lack thereof. And I certainly didn't need it to be a good actor.
Yeah, no, dude. And taking you back to where you were talking about kind of expanding and testing your fear, because I feel it a lot in terms of what I do. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to just not willing to take that risk, right? And putting yourself out there. And I'm sure you've had to deal with that many times. One of my biggest fears for a long time was just like fear of rejection and being told you're not good enough. I mean, obviously, in your line of work, that happens all the time. And you found that niche. What makes me laugh, dude, and I, when I heard you say, like, when you first started out, you'd walk into these auditions and there would be like hundreds of beautiful dudes. And you're like, why me of all the people? Right?
I mean, dude, let's face it, look, man, my nose is like I'm literally like a mongrel looking cute. Like, I'm so not meant to be on camera, but man, like, I don't know. It's funny because in the beginning, yeah, man, it's like, that's kind of what comes your way. It's soap operas, it's WB shows. It's like, and there's an aspect of this thing where, like, you're supposed to be like beautiful or whatever. But I think just like any of these other things, man, I think you can use that to either fill you with shame, fill you with fear, or you can use it to be like, fucking, here I am, loud and proud, and this is what I am, and I'm uniquely me. And like, you got to dig into, I think, and no matter what you do, and I say to my kids, like, be you, like, dig into who you are. Like, no, there's no other you. And like, I think that for me, the key to happiness, which is what I equate success to, is like really being authentically who you are, and going in, and I think, in terms of like the ever mounting mountain of rejection that you have to face in my field, I think you can flip the script. I think I think a lot of people are quite, I think, the up and down nature to my profession, your profession, that there's no sure thing. You could be replaced. I think that's a lot to sort of spin people out and get people down. But I think, again, you flip that, it's unbelievably inspiring, I think, and to know, wow, you don't know what's next, you don't know what's potentially coming. It's like, it's like the love of your life is out there somewhere, looking at the same stars you are, and like you might find them. So like, that's how, when things ever get rough or a job doesn't go my way, something that I really wanted, I really am able to kind of do that now. Look, it's easier now that I have a lot of work and that I'm a bit established, but I think that, like, you really, as an actor and in my business, because it's not a meritocracy, right? It's not sports. It's not like, hey, look, dude, I run a 4.340 and I bench press 350. So it's like, come fuck with me. Like, it's undeniable, right? It's like, for me, it's like, like a lot of this is subjective. So I think that what you have to do is like define your own authenticity and measure yourself on how closely you stay in proximity to that, and don't bend. Like, the mistake is, oh, there's a bunch of handsome dudes in here, so I'm going to like go get an expensive haircut. Like, screw that, dude. Like, be you, be you. That's what, that's what I think.
Hey, speaking of being you, I get a kick out of seeing you on the cover of Men's Health and in these movies and magazines and GQ. No, it was Esquire. It was Esquire. You're on the front of these magazines, and it's like, holy shit, man. Like if that was me, my head would be massive. And and the fans, you know, I'm sure you get a lot of love on social media. I mean, shit, dude, you got like millions of followers on Instagram. So my question basically is, you know, how do you handle all of this success and eyeballs on you? I mean, how do you stay grounded, or are you just an egotistical maniac?
I mean, look, dude, I have enough. I have the same. I've been with my wife for 20 years, man. Off and on in the beginning, but she's she was an ICU trauma nurse and a nurse anesthetist, and she was with me when I was bouncing at Garrett's, when I was boxing, and when I was doing plays with more people on stage than were in the audience. She seen me, literally, cry myself into my pillow saying there's no way I'm going to make this. And she stuck with me through all that time. She knows exactly who I am. And I think, she says when I get home from set, she makes sure, I remember, man, like shit ain't like people aren't there to like do stuff for me and like make sure my performance is good. It's like, get your ass in there and do your thing. But I think, look, man, it's the same. I'm so unbelievably grateful for the group of people I grew up with, like Dougie Thornell, Greg Zuma, Gare Schwett. Like my best friends are I've had since first grade. That's not changed. They know exactly who I am. And I think that's what that base, my family, my brothers, the whole sort of like community that we all grew up in. I mean, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I'm like, feel so blessed for that. I feel like we grew up in such a unbelievably like diverse world and people from all walks of life, that again, like filled me with this ability, I think, to like tap into so many different kinds of characters. I feel like I've had real experience with like all walks of life based on like where we grew up and how we grew up. And I think that like part of that is being extremely humble. I'm like, Frankie, man, I am like so grateful for all this. And I'm shocked. Look, I think the good thing for me is it was very gradual. It was like it wasn't like this thing that all of a sudden, people are like, wow, Walking Dead, man. Like, but I've been in the game like 10 years before Walking Dead, like struggling, clawing. And the truth is, man, is that like, I don't want it any other way. Like, I love the grind. I love the struggle. I love that it's like not something that you get like, anybody can sort of sit back and say, I got this licked, but like, what an asshole, right? Like, what an amazing opportunity to like keep going, keep pushing, and to fail. And so I think for me now, man, my whole sort of like, for better or for worse, my whole criteria for choosing projects now is, does this scare me? Like, am I scared of this? Do I think I could fail at this? And so it's like, if I'm not deeply fearful of the job, deeply fearful that I could fail, I won't take the job. And I think that like, look, man, I know that some people think that's probably not smart. You know what I mean? Because but I think it's like you take baseball, man. Like, you're not going to hit home runs unless you're willing to strike out. Like, you're just not going to. Like, if you want to swing for and I think there's different kinds of actors. There's safe actors who can like be very believable and like stay very even keeled and they stay within here. Me, man, I would rather have like 10 bad takes and then on the 11th just fucking do something that surprises everybody, scares everybody, even myself. And that 11th take, like, that's why I'm in this thing. Like, that's why I'm doing it.
Let me ask you this, dude, because you're headlining movies now. You've been in big time successful TV shows, but like, is there that drive at all to be like, right, atop everybody else? Does that make sense? Like, you want to be a household name. Like, I want everybody to know me, or is your path okay? Like, what's your ultimate goal in terms of this?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. Honestly, I don't want, like,
because like people be like, oh yeah, the Punisher. Like, they'll know the Punisher, but
right.
Know your name.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest with you, man, like the currency of people knowing you or it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it helps me. Like, there's a lot of guys like just like in your field and everybody's field, who your peers are, right? Like, the guys like, okay, well, this guy's here, I'm here, this guy, right? And you're constantly sort of like, and I think it's a huge mistake to kind of like compete. I had an acting teacher once that said, the biggest mistake that actors do is they sort of like take their peer group, or like say it's a class, and they're always sort of trying to figure out, well, okay, I'm better than this guy, but I'm not quite as good as this guy, but at least I'm better than that guy. And they're always trying to figure out where they rank in there. And what a fucking colossal waste of time that is. And I think it's like, you've got to have, to me, the advice he gave me that I really think is awesome is like, you have to have in your heart and your mind an example of perfection, whatever that is, whether it's like one play Michael Jordan made, whether it's like one lick Jerry Garcia had on the guitar, but like some song, some painting, some unbelievable play in sports that you're like, that is perfect. And I think you got to constantly compare yourself to that. You constantly got to be like, and look, I think it does. I'm generally in a bad mood when I work. I'm generally disappointed. I'm not the kind of guy like, yeah, we got, like, I usually go home like, and you know, I'm kicking walls and cursing myself, but I love that because I'm always aspiring to be better. And I think as far as like what am I looking for, the currency of like having some people know you, there's no question that, you know, there's all these aspects to my business of like foreign box office, and like you can't get opportunities unless people know who you are. Oh, that's the guy from this. So I'm deeply grateful for that part of it, but I don't think there's much good that comes from like lots of people knowing you. For me, I really do want to be respected by my peers and by other artists. Like that is extremely important to me. Like I want to be the kind of, like, the thing I'm most proud of in my career is that every director that I've worked with has asked me to come back, right? Like that's important to me. What's really important to me in my career, that like the crews that I've worked with over the years, you know, like I'm deeply close with the whole team. And so like when I'm producing a movie or when I'm putting something together, I can call, you know, stunts, makeup, hair, grips. Like I know the best, and we're friends. We actually have a real relationship. It's not like I'm the actor and like and so I have this wealth of like unbelievable close friendships that's been forged on not who we are, but what we've done together. And like the metal has been proven like on, you know, for not to be a hokey, but like on the battlefield, like, you know, it's like you show who you are. It's just like being an athlete, you know, it's like, you know, like everybody knows, like, are you the dude who fights for the rebound? Are you the dude that fights for the loose ball? Or are you the dude who's just like, you know what I mean? Like not really playing D, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, like, but you know, man, like it all like, and that's what I love about sports. Like everything you know everything about a person, you get them on the basketball court, you know who they are, right? Same thing is true in this business. Like I'll do one scene with somebody and it's like, I got them figured out. And I want to be the kind of person, what's important to me is that like all the actors that I respect are like, yo, that motherfucker, when he comes for real. Way more important than like my name on a poster or headlining anything. Like I want to be able to do that when I'm 80. I want to be like, yo, man. And it doesn't matter whether it's in a community theater or a TV show or what. I just want to be the person like, oh, we got to get that guy. That guy works his ass off. That guy will surprise us. That guy will scare us. Like that's what I'm in it for.
I would be, is the word remiss, I got to ask you, like, your favorite character so far. Is it an easy one for you to answer, or is it?
No, man. I can't.
You all like the same. They're all equal.
No, it's like, you know, man. It's like you gotta love what you're doing while you're doing it. I mean, like right now, I'm loving this thing I'm doing with Will Smith. This tennis movie. Like, I love this character. He's so you know, like, just goofy and positive. There's a guy named Rick Macy. He's such an interesting coach.
You know?
And I love, you know, like I really love what I'm doing while I'm doing it. And I think a big part of it is like, you've got to find, you're like a soldier for the story, but you're an advocate for your character. Like you have to, you got to love him. So I really like, I could never choose.
Okay. How hard is it to memorize lines?
Ah, man, yeah, no, that's like, yeah. I mean, I think I think
you guys make it look so natural, you know. I don't know. Like,
yeah, man. I think, look, man, you know, I don't know if it's I think in all kind of like, I don't know. I guess you could equate it to sports. There's like busy work, and then there's like heart work. There's like the work that you need to be kind of like inspired to do. And for me, like, you know, the tennis training, the learning the lines, the working on the act, working with the dialect coach, you know, learning the craft of what that person, if you're a loader on a tank, like loading tons of, that's literally just time in the box. but that's baby boy shit, right? That's all that is just literally putting the time in. So if you don't do that, you're a chump, right? Like, but really anybody could do that. Like anybody can just put in the time. If you care about something, you'll put in the time. Yeah. But then it's like, how do you engage your heart? How do you take the time to like open yourself up to be inspired to do something again that might scare you or bend you in a different way? That's like the real work. And that's what I think separates. But like the learning the lines, that's just time that's just time. That's just weight room. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. That's fantastic. And what else can you tease for me coming up to look forward to with you, man?
So yeah, man, I'm, thanks, baby. My wife just brought me some, I'm doing a podcast, baby. My wife just I'm trying to lose some weight, man. So she just brought me
wait a second.
She brought me some lettuce wraps with turkey.
Is this for the role? Are you trying to lose weight for the role?
Yeah, for this tennis thing, man. Like, so I just finished Sopranos. I just finished the Sopranos movie. Right. I had to put on a ton of weight for that, so now I'm taking it off for the tennis movie. But yeah, man. I've got these two things. I got a movie with Angelina Jolie coming out called Those Who Wish Me Dead, directed by Taylor Sheridan. He did Sicario and Wind River. We did those together. I'm doing this movie with Lena Dunham, and then I wrote this new TV series called The Bottoms about a true story that means a ton to me, man, about this street gang down in Shreveport, Louisiana called the Bottom Boys. Okay. And it's sort of about the institutionalized racism and how the federal government kind of eviscerated this historic neighborhood down there. But it's really been like a life's. It's been my dream, man. Getting to know the folks down there has been one of like the real joys of my life, and we've really done it in a really pure, kind of beautiful way, and they're a really big part of telling the story, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, dude. Listen, man, really appreciate your time, bro. It's been fantastic. Best of luck. I wanted to tell you in Wind River, right? That scene. Mm-hmm. I mean, you were on how many minutes? but seriously, that was probably the best part of the movie.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
5-6 minutes, quite frankly, right? It wasn't.
Look, man, I think
it was impactful.
Yeah, man, that guy Taylor, he's great, and I think maybe this is something for your viewers as well, man. I think at a certain point, in order to I think to really sort of like achieve your best. You got to find people that really believe in you and take you off the leash. And the thing with Taylor is he told me what he wanted accomplished in that scene. I was on that movie for one day. I was shooting something else, drove all the way up to the mountains in Utah, showed up. We shot a 24-hour day. Literally, we're on set for 24 hours. We shot it all. We did it all. And he really let, I got to write this little piece about Ojai, the town that I live in. And, he really just let us do our thing. And I think a lot of times, what great leadership is, great coaching, great directing is finding the right personnel and then providing them the environment to be exactly who they are and to let them do what they do best and not try to micromanage. And I think people get confused that like giving up control is actually the bolder and the more successful way, I think, of leading, rather than say you do this, which is cutting people's creativity and agency off. And I think I know in my business at least completely holds people back.
By the way, I got to ask you, do you watch yourself? Do you watch your movies?
Man, it's hard enough doing this interview with you looking at those big ass ears, man. I mean, my ears are so and it's like my kids and my wife make so much fun of this mustache too. It's like constant Mr. Blackstache, Mr. Mustache. Like, they just make fun of me and they're always ripping it. My kids are like savages. So no, man, I do not like watching myself, man. I'll do it sometimes. I got a premiere, but man, all I see is missed opportunities and failings, man. It's part of my plight,
And on that note, man, listen, we appreciate your time. Jon Bernthal, as always, great to see you, man.
You too, brother. You too. Best of the family, man.